For this year's urine fertilization experiment, I'm again working in the garden, though not on any production crop. This is just oats that we plant as a cover crop that I have here. And just as, like, I want to work in the garden because that's kind of where I feel this is more useful, but I'm not quite comfortable going to a production crop yet with my experiments. This cover crop, which we unfortunately have to cover with a remade to keep the birds out of it from eating all the seeds we put down, even though there's a couple holes and it looks like they might have got into there last night. There's also some raccoon tracks on this that I'm seeing, which isn't good. But so for this cover crop, I'm going to be putting down a decent density. Each of these are about 20 square feet, and to that I'm going to apply, at least today, and probably I'll try to do this for most of them, 2 gallons on each of the sites. With those 2 gallons applied, it will work out to just about 0.16 kind of inches of application in that each time I do this, which I'm going to aim to do about once a week. The difference, again, like the last time, is the mixture. What I have here is a 4-to-1 urine to water ratio. And then the next plot over, I'm going to do an 8-to-1 and then a 16-to-1. That'll just kind of, I'm just hoping to find something that will have a beneficial effect to it, but without causing die-off like I've seen with the 2-to-1, or I should really say 1-to-1. These aren't ratios. Well, this is like 3-to-1, but like 1/4 urine. I'm looking for something that will have an effect but not cause any die-off, and just kind of see how that applies on, particularly on garden soil, which, like, we treated this with manure prior to planting this cover crop like we do the rest of our gardens. And then on the far end, I'm going to do one with just water and then kind of nothing added. And if it's been so far a reasonably wet spring, so we haven't really been watering anything, but if it gets to the summer where we need to water stuff, and hopefully we don't need to water cover crop, but if we do, I would do that kind of equally across all of these as addition, and of course, note it down. It's June 30th, and after several weeks of putting the urine on this set of oats, it seems like the plot where I did the 1/8 fertilization, the 4 cups in the 2-gallon container, is doing the best. It's not like the 1/4 is doing badly, like it doesn't seem what I would call over fertilized, but it just isn't doing as well as this. And the 1/16, the 2 cups, is also doing, I think, a little bit better than either the straight water or the nothing added control, which are doing pretty much identical, but it's just a little bit hard to tell. This is the only one that really seems to be noticeably higher than the others, and this area got hit pretty hard in the rains we've had in the last week. So it seems like maybe 1/4 is too much at this particular fertilization rate, but it's really difficult because there's just so many variabilities. Of course, I'm even a little bit thinking the controls might not be super accurate, because from the 1/16 one coming over here, it seems to be a little bit kind of similar to about halfway through this water only control, and I don't know if there's some migration of it. I haven't seen that much in previous experiments, but I also have to recognize that part of the reason that we're doing so much cover cropping in these beds is the flooding we had last year. We had water overtop our stream and just come down through the yard and get not as terrible as we've had it once in the past, but kind of get floodwaters through this area, and that seems to have like compacted the soil somewhat. So I'm not entirely sure that like that's part of the reason we're doing cover crop here and I was able to do this experiment, but I have a little bit of concerns it might not be a great experiment because of that, because that lower end of the bed got hit reasonably hard. Now 4 weeks after I cut this, July 28th, I'm still seeing a pretty distinct difference between kind of the plots I had any fertilization in and the plots I didn't have anything in. And among the plots I have some fertilization in, it seems like this kind of middle plot where I was doing the 1/8 fertilization, the 4 cups out of every 2 gallons, though actually the last 2 times I did it, I didn't have quite that much urine, so they had slightly less. But the stuff that's further down is looking really sickly, but I'm not really sure that has anything to do with the fertilization, because 2.5 weeks ago we had another substantial flooding event in Vermont. Not quite as bad as last year, but we had the water jump the stream bank again and flow through our garden, and we don't have nearly as much damage as we had last year, but that is the area that was hit last year, and of course it'd be kind of more hit this year as well. So it might be that it's related to that. But this oats, I don't think the cutting it down changed when it was going to seed, because it's definitely in process of going to seed right now. So I'm going to have to cut it down because we don't want oat seeds everywhere in our garden. From planting to when the final cutting was performed, 17.8 inches of rain fell. The applied liquid added an additional 1.2, which at maximum was 0.3 inches of urine. This does not seem like a substantial amount of additional liquid added considering the wet summer we've had. Though early on, while more frequent and heavy additions were occurring, less rain fell. The normal, from Prism, for May was 4.02 inches compared to the 4.85 inches that fell. The June normal is 4.66 inches compared to the 9.29 inches that fell. The July normal is 4.81 inches compared to the 7.08 inches that fell. Though we got the big rainstorm in July, multiple smaller but still decently sized ones caused June to have more rainfall in total. Given the way I applied the urine and the conditions this year, it appears that my 1/8 application provided the best results for fertilization. Not that 1/4 caused any substantial harm. It still appears better than no applied urine. The way I conducted this experiment does not test for or control for many factors. I hope to design future experiments to better do so, though I'm not sure how much energy I will have to do so.